Today we are talking about House, and I'm not referencing the snarky medical TV series that gave us 8 seasons of mostly excellent television. I'm talking about the 1985 film that was directed by Mr. Steve Miner and written by Fred Dekker. Now, Steve Miner gave us 2 outstanding installments of the Friday the 13th film franchise, that being part 2 with crazy baghead Jason and part 3 with the ever-annoying Shelley and the debut of the hockey mask. Now, Fred Dekker would go on to direct Monster Squad, and for those of you who are fans of us, we're fans of Monster Squad. So that is the pedigree that these guys bring to this film. Plot of the film is successful writer Roger Cobb. He's troubled. He's estranged from his wife, all stemming over the disappearance of his son that took place at this house that his aunt owns. Now, not too far after that, his aunt winds up committing suicide and he inherits the house. Now, Roger's not really sure what to do with the house. He's kind of at a crossroads in his life. He's coming off of a successful book, but he's under pressure to write another follow-up. And this book that he is aiming to write stems from his Vietnam past. And we get a lot of those flashbacks in this movie. He decides ultimately he's going to keep this house. He's not going to sell it. He's urged by the real estate guy to unload it, but he makes the decision that he is going to stick around. It's here at this house that Roger hopes he's going to get some inspiration, not only for this new book that he is under the gun to write, but he also wants to try to gain some understanding about why his son disappeared, or more importantly, how his son disappeared and where his son may be. Highly recognizable cast in this movie. George Wendt stepped straight off the set of Cheers and into this film. Perfect for the 80s because nothing was bigger than Cheers in the 80s. And in this movie, he plays Roger's next door neighbor who's a little nosy, kind of wants to know what's going on, but in the end, he turns out to be very helpful to Roger. We've also got Richard Mall, who most people will know as Bull from Night Court. Now, I've always thought he would play a great villain just because of his look and his sheer size, and sure enough, that's what we get in this movie. Without spoiling anything, we mostly get flashbacks of Richard from Roger's Vietnam past, and then ultimately he plays a much bigger role at the end of the film. He has got, of course, an attractive neighbor because everybody had an attractive neighbor in the 80s. She is gorgeous, but she's a little awkward. You know, she decides to dump her kid on Roger. The first night meeting this guy, just assumes, okay, he's nice enough to babysit my 6-year-old son. Why not? Let's give it a shot. This is a haunted house, so this kid is in danger every moment he's in that place. And it's entertaining how Roger goes out of his way to try to save this kid from numerous bad situations. This movie is a perfect example of why I wanted to do this channel. I have a lot of these fond memories from these 80s films because they were such a big part of my childhood. And then upon rewatch, you're like, oof, that did not hold up. And to be perfectly fair, the ending of this movie is what saves the entire film because everything up until the ending is very dragging. It's very convoluted. There are some exciting scenes. You know, I thought that the scene from the tool shed when the tools just sort of come to life and start chasing after Roger, I thought that was entertaining. I also thought it was funny how he used that to his advantage to dispatch one of the ghouls from the house. But the end sequence where he finds out what happened to his son and he's working to rescue his son from a ghost of his past, of all things, I thought it was really cool how it all came together. And anytime you have any sort of a reunion, and I'm a dad, so I'm a little bit sensitive to that sort of thing. Anytime you have any kind of a reunion amongst family, it's kind of nice. It pulls at the old heartstrings a little bit. But so with this movie, you've got a lot of cheesy effects. I mean, it's the 80s, so I can't hold it against them. A lot of the monsters look really cobbled together. I'm sure the effects look the way they look because of the budget these guys were on. I mean, it doesn't look like they pumped a ton of money into this movie. And if I remember correctly, I think the sequel was worlds better, but I guess maybe we'll get to that when we get to that. So this is on the lower end of the haunted house movies. I would say I'd give it a 5 out of 10, and that's being generous, and that's really, really because the end of this film pulls the nose up. It doesn't age gracefully for me. I don't know that I'll watch it again. I'm looking forward to watching the sequel because now that I've watched this, I remembered they had a great sequel that they turned in with none other than Lar Park Lincoln from Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. God, I hope that movie is better than Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood upon rewatch. I'm really looking forward to sitting down and watching House 2, and maybe we'll talk about it here. But I appreciate you guys checking in on Aging Gracefully. I'm Matthew Essex, and I will see you on the other side.